Let's see if we can change some minds tonight. So tonight we're talking about the stopline3.org website and how they're going to pretty much try to pollute our country willy-nilly with no repercussions. So I'm going to show you guys the website here. So this kind of tells you what it's about. There's a pretty good video here as well. I'll tell you guys that. I watched it already about the whole history of it. So if you guys want to follow along, you can. It shows the map and all the treaties they're breaking.
Correct.
To get through this.
And that's it. Is that what body of water is that?
This is Lake Superior.
Lake Superior.
Of the Great Lakes.
Literally tens of millions of people get their drinking water from there.
Yes. So this pipeline wants to break 4 treaties just in the United States. I don't know what's going on here. The rest of this is Canada, guys. This comes from way the hell over here in Edmonton.
Right.
All the way through here to Lake Superior. Why does it got to go to the water? Some kind of logistical reason for shipping, probably, but fuck off.
Right. And then the thing is that, like, it's not a matter of if they break, it's when. And that's the thing that a lot of people can't wrap their heads around. They're like, oh, well, technology and this, that, the other, and it's better. This one's better than the last one. It's just like they keep kind of feeding us that story, and these pipelines keep having problems and leaking thousands and thousands, sometimes millions of gallons of, it's not just like crude oil. It's stuff that has like fracking fluid in it and all kinds of carcinogens, stuff that you definitely don't want in your drinking water. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we got to get there. We got to get to the point where we actually we care enough to change not only our minds, but change other people's minds by talking about it, by spreading, information.
Yep. So go ahead and share what you know about Pipeline 3 and why we got to stop that son of a bitch.
All right, I'm gonna read right off the website just in case y'all haven't gone there yet. Basically, this is what the website says. What is Line 3? Line 3 is a proposed pipeline expansion to bring nearly 1 million barrels of tar sands per day from Alberta, Canada to Superior, Wisconsin. Remember, right next to Lake Superior. It was proposed in 2014 by Enbridge, a Canadian pipeline company responsible for the largest inland oil spill in the U.S. Not in Canada, in the U.S. That's where it spilled the oil. Enbridge seeks to build a new pipeline corridor through untouched wetlands and the treaty territory of, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, Anishinaabe. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Peoples. Through the Mississippi River headwaters to the shore of Lake Superior. So, again, oil and water don't mix, just like the other website. This is just goofiness. I mean, like, I think that the next species of humankind that like inhabits the earth is going to go, wow, these people were really dumb. The species was dumb. They were like, yeah, let's just keep messing with the environment. Let's do that. Let's mess with our drinking water. Let's do that.
Well, something very important in there, guys. It crosses the Mississippi, the largest north-south river that goes from the Gulf of Mexico to Canada. Hey, to the Great Lakes. Hey, let's fuck that up.
Yes.
Like, we're just looking for shit to fuck up with one pipeline, guys. It crosses many, many, many watersheds.
Right.
All the
How many eyes in the Mississippi River? There's one extra one. I don't know why we're doing this.
Yes. Yes. And again, to Lake Superior, one of the 5 lakes that are freshwater, the largest freshwater reservoir on planet Earth. I live 7 miles from Lake Michigan. This affects me directly. It affects all of us directly. But like, I could smell it if it happens here.
Right.
And this company Enbridge has happened here.
Right, the largest inland.
Yes, in Kalamazoo, Michigan in 2010, they had an 18-inch rupture on a pipeline.
What's crazy, too, is they say that it's not about the safe transportation of a necessary product, but it's about the expansion of the dying tar sands,
right.
And it's I think, the whole industry is a dying industry, I mean, the fact that we're so desperate for this dirty fossil fuel that we're like, what we should do? We should be drilling more in the ocean. and then they burst, and then they put disbursements in the water so you can't see the oil, but it's still pumping out all of these carcinogen, all this dirty fossil fuel into the ocean where animals are dying. It's crazy.
Well, don't forget, guys, the ocean was on fire this year.
Yes, remember that? It was on fire.
I didn't know that was real for like the whole day. I thought, that's a fucked up, pretty cool special.
Right, you're like, nah, that's a filter.
I thought it was a movie trailer. You know what I mean? I thought it was like a movie trailer. I was like, well, that's weird. And I just kept scrolling. I was like, that was fucked up. Well, that was crazy. Right. Then I was like, that's fucking real? Holy shit. That's happening right now. It's killing off billions of animals.
Yeah.
Coral reefs, natural habitats gone.
It's destroying the ecosystem in the ocean. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah. And so I want to show you guys here what I was talking about. In Michigan in 2010, 10 years later, it says 840,000 gallons of crude oil spilled in a Talmadge Creek 40 miles down from Kalamazoo. This is like 45 minutes from my house, guys.
Whoa.
It took them for fucking ever to clean that shit up.
Right.
And this is an article about this guy who is he's a veterinarian and he's a big canoeer. He couldn't go in the goddamn river for quite some time because it's oil, literal oil flowing down the river. They've done a lot of cleanup, but the problem is they got fined for a couple $100 million, right?
Right.
Okay. Right. They already made like $70 billion off.
Right. It's the cost of doing business. They don't care. They get a slap on the wrist.
I would take those odds.
That's like somebody saying to you, hey, listen, you murdered all of these people, so you got to give me $1.50.
You got to serve 30 days in jail.
What's going to be your incentive to stop that behavior?
Mm-hmm.
It's like nobody goes to jail. Nobody. I think that what they should do is find them more than what they make on the pipeline. That would make more sense to me.
100%.
Say, oh, you make $70 billion? Okay, your fine is $180 billion. They'd stop that right away.
Hey, guess what shareholders would do? Their butts would pucker up.
Yeah.
Their butts would be water goddamn tight. They're like,
huh? What?
Gone. Investors gone. Company over. De-incentivized. Incentivizing proper behavior with legislation, which includes lawsuits, which includes environmental protective agency doing their job, the EPA. They got to do their job, man. And so in that article, it mentions there's 900 known infractions on that pipeline
right
now that they want to abandon and build a new one.
Right.
And cross more territories and
pollute more areas.
Pollute more land.
Exactly. It's insane. And what's weird is that, like, one of the things that I'm always pushing for is the hemp resolution on Facebook. It's something that I authored. And basically that says that, if we really wanted to, we could scale up the production of hemp fuel. Every car made after 1995 has a computer in it that regulates the mixture of oxygen and fuel.
Yes.
We can literally reprogram it so that it can run on biofuel, on biodiesel, on whatever.
Yep.
And if we created the initiative, which is the hemp resolution, and we put that into practice and scaled it up, we could produce hemp fuel in skyscrapers. This is an interesting fact. I think I've mentioned this before. A skyscraper in New York is considered a success if it has anywhere between 30 to 50% occupancy. That means half that building is empty, and that's considered a success. So imagine if we decided, you know what, instead of bailing out bankers, instead of funding more war, we're going to go ahead and create money out of thin air like we like to do, and instead we're going to lease space in these high-rise buildings, pay people to move so we can get consecutive floors, and then have hydroponic farms that are vertical, and every 45 days produce 40,000 gallons worth of clean gasoline, hemp fuel, and end our dependency on fossil fuel. If we did that in every local town, it would also improve the economy of every city, every town, every rural county, because they would produce it in their own space. You wouldn't have to ship it overseas. You wouldn't have to drill in the ocean. You wouldn't have to go to the sand, the what is it? The sand,
Manpower.
right? The sandtars. I mean, it makes sense. The reason why it doesn't happen is because these companies have all these resources and they have a monopoly on the industry, and they don't want to let it go. They
Well,
do not want to let it go. I mean, I remember when we were talking about ethanol.
Yep.
Remember ethanol you can get from potatoes, and they were like, "Nah, we can't do that. We don't need the infrastructure for that. We don't want that. That's crap. It's terrible. It's garbage." And then, lo and behold, we're still on fossil fuel. We're still having problems with it. Why?
Yep.
You know. And so, what is it? The definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing and expect different results.
Hello, where we at?
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So
think about this. We're trying to get the Canadian pipeline through our clean water sources.
right.
Because, like you said earlier, water is life. Period. There is no life where there is no water, guys. That's just the way it works. So we pollute all of our water. Meanwhile, Joe Biden just signed legislation saying we should have 100% of the cars should be electric by 2035 or some shit for government vehicles. I think it was like that kind of initiatives we need more of. I'll give Joe Biden props for that. That's a great move. But it's not enough.
Right. I mean, and I also give it pushback because, like, this is an actual statistic. 60% of our grid energy comes from fossil fuel. 20% comes from what is it?
Renewables?
No. Well, yeah, 20% renewable, and then the other 20% is nuclear.
Nuclear, yeah.
So if we can shift that from 60% renewable, then we're talking, you know. But if we don't decide to make that shift, then we're just kind of hiding the problem.
I'm more pro nuclear in that regards because the technology's not there for renewables yet.
I think it is. We just have to build it out, you know. But we can agree to disagree. You know?
The problem with us in America, specifically America, this is an American problem, is usage. We consume too much electricity.
Right.
And the problem with solar, because I have a friend down in Indiana, that's what he does for a living. He said the problem is, what do you do with it in 15, 20 years? There's no recycling plan yet. You know, yet there'll be a whole industry they'll create for that. Right. But to me, nuclear is the stopgap, if you will, of thorium reactors, which can't melt down. If it starts breaking down the sequence, you do a salt water flush, the ionization stops the chain, and you just start it over. That's it, right? So it cannot overload.
I don't know much about that. So I'd have to definitely look into that, but it's good information.
Yeah, I did an interview with a guy called Ian the Thorium Guy. That's his name on Twitter, and he's actually a nuclear. He's a physicist. He's a research and development guy. So they're trying to fine tune thorium reactors. And if we do that, dude, if the United States can be the leader in that, we can help get every single country. Think about this, capitalist. You want to be the best fucking capitalist? Get thorium reactors online, baby. We're set. Because then you can shut down all the coal producing places in the world.
Right.
We'll outcompete them with clean energy.
Right.
Because nuclear is the most clean energy we have outside of a fucking meltdown, which is rare, right? And I live by two. There's two nuclear reactors on Lake Michigan. Wow. One is 7 miles north of me, and one's about 45 miles south of me. I'm in your dead zone if shit goes south.
Right. You're downwind.
I'm in every direction of wind. There's one north and south of me. So if that thing melts down, I'm in Fucksville.
You're in the red zone.
I'm definitely in the red zone. I'll get a phone call, that's for sure. Mr. Littlefield, just so you know, yeah, you're fucked. So have a good one.
There you go, right? Are you glowing yet?
Yeah. Do your balls tingle? There's a reason. Your swimmers are freaking out, bro. But yeah, I think the long-term goal is 100% green energy renewables.
Right.
But right now, we don't have enough infrastructure to support that.
Well, that's what the hemp resolution proposes, is that we actually create an economy based on our renewable grid.
I love it. I want to talk more about that in the future.
The first car ever produced in America by Henry Ford was the Model T. It was made to run on hemp fuel because it was so accessible. Mm-hmm. And Rockefeller right?
Yeah.
The American
Advertising.
Petroleum Company of America, whatever it was, decided, you know what, we're going to make a deal, basically a monopoly with Henry Ford. And like every car you produce has to run on this specific type of fuel. So you got to change the combustion, formula.
The
He's
ratio.
like, okay, cool. I mean, hey, I don't care. Because one thing Henry Ford was more than anything is greedy.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the route we took, and here we are, 100 years later, and we're still fighting with these big petroleum companies. There's literally, I think, 4.
Yeah, and they're killing us.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not a monopoly, I don't know what is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You only have 4 companies that own an entire resource.
Yep.
I mean, imagine if that was the case for anything else. You imagine if there was only 4 pencil companies. You'd be like, okay, that's kind of weird.
That's an expensive fucking pencil too. Let me tell you. That.
Yeah, right.
they're gonna bump that up.
Exactly.
But yeah, guys. So check out.
This big.
Yeah, and you have to we keep reusing it. It's illegal for you to make your own pencils. All the legislative protections I'll put in there. So, guys, the big thing is stopline3.org, oilandwaterdon'tmix.org. So those are the 2 that we're going to be having. And I'll put that in the clip in the description box. You guys can read more about this. There's a great video you should watch. I can't play their content. That's their protected information. It's their video. Go watch their video, and I'll provide a link in that as well. And also, guys, POTUSforus.com.
Oh, nice.
And that's where you have the resolution at, right? On your website?
Actually, that's where my merch is. That Facebook.com/hemp resolution. That's where you find the hemp resolution. But this is like where you find my merch, where you like help support me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Buy a mug, start your day with me,
There we go. So we're going to add that one. Facebook.com/hemp resolution. I got to go check that out, man. I need to know more information.
/hemp resolution. That's correct.
Yep. So, guys, definitely check them out. Support. Wait, that way. There it is.
I'm doing the same thing.
But yeah, guys, definitely support. And again, on TikTok as well. POTUS for Us on TikTok. Killing it. Hot takes, man. So, guys, thanks again for joining us, and go read a book.